Hi, LinkedIn, and welcome back to My Spites, brought to you by Authentic Meetings and Incentives. I'm Nataly Horan, your host every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we take a quick break to spotlight a meeting and incentive-worthy product. So today, we are shifting into high gear with a one-of-a-kind experience brand that's turning heads in the corporate event world, F1 Arcade. So joining us is Shelley Williams, VP of Global Sales, here to show us how F1 Arcade blends immersive racing and elevated hospitality to create events your clients will actually want to talk about. So let's dive in, and don't forget, we will open up for a quick Q&A at the end, so drop your questions in the chat.
Williams. I am the VP of Sales for F1 Arcade, and I'm here to explain to you some of the new concepts around the immersive dining meets dopamine equation. So in our LinkedIn kind of prelude, we talked a little bit about AI, we talked a little bit about EQ, and this emotional intelligence of what do you know what's best for your client, especially when you're doing incentives, and what are those things that you need to engage your clients the best. F1 Arcade is exactly now coming to the market. We have 3 venues in the United States, 2 in England, and we are now expanding across the United States to bring you something extraordinary, fast, and fabulous that you can do with your groups. So let me introduce to you F1 Arcade. Dining meets dopamine. So you're going to see us when we come to a city near you. Currently, we are in Boston, Washington, and Philadelphia with our sparkly jackets, our dazzling smiles, and a lot of fun that makes you race fast. 300 miles an hour with your hair on fire, with fun, with competitive socializing with your groups. And if you just want to come on a date night, we accept that too. You want to have a celebration, just your mates coming down, F1 Arcade will take it all. So there's a video you're going to see in the LinkedIn. So make sure you check in the DMs for that so that you could take a look at what we're doing and what our sizzle looks like in live. But what is F1 Arcade? We're a licensed Formula One partner. Concept was created in the UK by pioneers of competitive socializing. And I'm going to get into what is competitive socializing, but I wanted to make sure that you're ready. And in our language, we call that lights out. It is the world's first experience in simulated racing. So F1 Arcade is thrilling simulated racing. So in our name, it says F1 Arcade. We're not your typical children's arcade. We are adult focused on simulated racing, obviously noted by our name and our partnership with Formula One. So we feature full motion racing simulators. Not a lot of things are required for you to jump in behind the driver's seat, get in your seat, and race really fast. You don't need to change your shoes. You don't need to change your attire. You don't need to put on a helmet. What you do need to do is sit back and ensure that you stay on the track. So what are you waiting for? Grab your pit crew, grab your mates, and come out and grab a cocktail with us, because right here you can drink and drive. So what is the Formula One and why is it so hot? High-speed drama you cannot script. And if you're watching those early morning races around the world, you can tell by the fan base that there is a lot of stuff going on in the F1 world, whether that's with Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, what's going on with our famous friend, Mr. Hamilton himself. And guess what? If you're going to a theater near you this week, Brad Pitt, drama in high gear, meet Sonny Hayes in the F1 Formula One movie that's dropping in theaters near you, and get a taste of what Formula One looks like. Global glamour and international destinations. So for all of you people that are booking globally, the F1 Formula One race is something that you're going to be very familiar with. And so we're trying to bring that to the United States to bring in that comfort of what that Formula One racing aspirational piece is for our MICE and incentive clients, so that they can get a taste of what it would be. Not a lot of people actually go to a race or have the opportunity to go to a race, but here's an opportunity to bring Formula One racing right to your back door or to your attendees and delegates. It's a sport that's built on innovation and human spirit. So it's not only about how fast you drive, it's about the engineering of the car, it's about the expensive investments they make, it's about the sponsorship, and it's about who you align with to get around the track. Each of those tracks are very different, and they test that human spirit, muscle memory, endurance, speed, and really just endurance is really the thing that we can bring from what our Formula One experiences are. It's not a race, it's really a community. So if you're in the Formula One world, and you join in this community, which I know you will after you get our experiences of F1 arcade, you're going to realize that it's something you're going to watch all year round. You're going to follow your racers, you're going to follow your cars, and you're going to start wearing either it's teal, whether it's papaya color, or whether you're going to follow a Mercedes car, McLaren, or any of the others that are in the race. There's only 10 teams, but there are 2 racers per team. Luxury meets grit. So this is a high-end elevated experience, but at the same time, there's something that you need to do to ensure that you can get around the track. So there's cultural media explosion. So if you'll hear about this, there's strategic global expansion. There's the rising stars and the competitive grids. Some of the language that you hear is starting to kind of be influenced into how we speak daily. And the prestige and partnerships of the storytelling around some of these really kind of cool high-end brands, really interesting characters, some rookies, and possibly some females that are coming into the race in the future. A massive fan growth and market momentum is really what you're seeing around Formula One. And of course, this is what we want to see in the United States as we expand across the country in different cities. You'll notice that the F1 fan base has been growing 90 million since 2023. The interesting piece there, particularly in women. So there's a really good, interesting fact that, this is something that we can get around. And there's been some rise into what and why Formula One is more important. So Netflix had the Drive to Survive series, and that was kind of through COVID. So if you were kind of binging on Netflix, you would have probably got yourself into a Drive to Survive and binge watched all of the back end of what was going on in the Formula One racing. And then just recently, Reese Witherspoon championed the narrative on the F1 Academy, which is all about the women in motorsports. So I think if you're going to go look for something tonight on Netflix to watch, check out Netflix Drive to Survive. Check out the F1 Academy that's also dropped, or to a theater near you, watch F1 movie with Brad Pitt. And it's opening this week, and that could even be going tonight. So Formula One teams, this is what we have right now on the grid. These are the teams. They're famous cars. You'll recognize a lot of these teams. Some of them go faster than others, depending on what kind of race it is, whether it's a tighter race like Monaco, or it's the Hamilton famous race in Silverstone coming up this next weekend in London. And he usually is a favorite to win that race in the UK. Some of the things that you'll probably be hearing in the social media and in the news feeds is Cadillac and Audi are also coming into this. So you're going to see a little bit more of a North American spin on a lot of what's happening within the Formula One teams and the investments, and then obviously the drivers. A lot of the partners that are partnering with Formula One are very recognizable global brands that tell a really interesting story. Why do they want to partner with Formula One? Well, as earlier I said, it's luxury meets grit. It's human spirit, it's a community, and it's driving what we're really looking for in incentive business. We want to align ourselves with the cool, the fastest, and the fun. And we think about attendee engagement, we think about exactly that. How is it that we're going to bring our attendees closer to what emotionally triggers what they do? So dining meets dopamine is what we're all about. From that elevated classics to globally inspired bites. We are not carnival food. We are not food trucks. We have a very elevated menu. We're going to do tuna tartare, oysters, shrimp cocktail. We have both things for the gluten and the vegetarians as well. We'll do your casual comforts with tacos and tostadas and flatbreads. But you will not normally see something that you would be accustomed to seeing in a global cuisine environment. We think about bold flavors and shareable plates, and we have a really nice balance with craft cocktails and non-alcoholic creations, designated drivers, we call them. And that keeps that energy high and off the track. Elevated style. So you'll see our octane bar, for a very large octane bar, which is signature when you're coming into our venues. And you're going to see some of those in a second. But this is a space built for impact and high energy. These are live events. We do a lot of buyouts, semi-private. We can host a complete event up to 600 people in Las Vegas. We can do smaller events as well for 15 to 40. But our sweet spot is really, buy the whole place out, have a great time, align yourself with kind of what I've just mentioned about getting involved with the Formula One movement here in the United States. We have a sleek DJ booth that sets that tone, and it's beautifully custom, lots of design bars and a lot of photo-worthy content for your social media followers. Elevated vibe. So what is competitive socializing? So you would have normally said team building And now we're going into team bonding. There has to be an outcome when we think about what competitive socializing is all about. So it's about immersive gameplay, elevated style, and a social interaction, all in one place. You get in your simulator, you find yourself learning how to perform, do better, interact, and compete with your colleagues in the incentive market, or your delegates, or even back in your from your corporate event. And so a lot of the things that we're trying to instill here is it's not just something to do, it's something that actually has a lot of team bonding opportunities to bring that culture experience to life. So when you do an activity similar to this in competitive socializing, and you're seeing those in the market quite a bit. So this is why we're trying to bring people into the immersive experience market, that dopamine interaction, right? We want that reward system. When we compete in something fun in low stakes environment, we release dopamine and we feel that that's a feel good transmitter. Winning the game or getting recognized triggers that release, and it's competitive and activates and rewards. The social bonding through shared play, that's that oxytocin effect. So group play and shared colleagues increases that oxytocin for the trust and bonding hormone. So all of these things are happening and you don't even know it in an immersive concept in an elevated style at F1 Arcade. And it's racing for all. It's a very diverse environment. So team games are friendly. There's rivalry that's built. A lot of times you want to compete against people that feel comfortable, but those risk takers may want to compete with people that are a little bit more risky and want to make sure that they play. So when you get on a simulator, you're competing against those that are in the game, but we also have those famous names of Formula One drivers that are also competing around that track with you. So it really makes it a lot of fun. And our simulators are built for that, with that really comfortable environment to get you close. So here we have some of our team members in a simulator, and there's people with spectators, right? Watching you do this activity. It's not just get in there and watch the screen and do it yourself. There's the camaraderie, right? A safe risk, but the arousal regulation. So competitive socializing sparks that excitement, creating risk, but activating thrill, right? So you're using some of these things, we stay alert, and we're socially engaged. So they're not on their phones, they're engaging in the game. And then there's that novelty and memory formation. We're doing something new. We're doing something exciting with experiences that are not just your usual ballroom, not just your usual chicken. These are things that are more novel and emotionally charged from that experience, and it's much more likely to be remembered. And bonding is then being formed. So they're going to tell their friends probably more often. They're going to share those experiences a little bit more, which obviously increases the engagement for your events. So I'm going to show you a few of the things that are in a market currently. F1 Arcade Philadelphia opened on the 29th of May, which was fantastic. So when you walk into our venues, you're going to see a really highly designed venue. You're going to see the different types of motifs and design elements that make this feel that it's purposely built, but you're going to walk into an environment that's comfortable and elevated. There you see our signature bar. We call that the Octane Bar. Now you can come in, you can book your racing reservation, you can come in as a social opportunity, you can come in and just have a drink at the wonderful bar, or you can do a full buyout, and that's what we recommend as well. Private rooms. So this private room here's for 120, 150 people. You have simulators that are just exclusive to your group, a private bar that's exclusive to your group. We have screens for some branding as well. And you'll notice that the simulators that we have here in the bottom corner, they're very sleek. They're easy to get into. You can have dresses on, you could have high heel shoes, still get into a simulator very comfortably, as well as for all different sizes. You'll get in, we'll do a briefing to explain to the group exactly what that exercise is. The bottom screen will be the one that you're racing on, and the top screen is what everyone will see your car doing while you're on the track. This is again back in Philadelphia, so a semi-private space as well, so that there's groups for all sizes, and some of them can be quiet and kind of off to the one side, or they can be complete open to the public. Good news, we're opening our flagship in Las Vegas in October, and we want everybody to come and see us. So this is one of the private rooms in Las Vegas for 220, a private bar, lots of simulators in, and it's going to be fast and fabulous. Where are we located? We're located in the Forum Shops, 50-yard line of the Las Vegas Strip, right beside Caesar's Palace, in the luxury of luxury in the Forum Shops, iconic mall. easy access, dropping off in the valet, and it's a 2-story. So you have a private room downstairs and a full buyout opportunity for 500. Plus, if you wanted to break out into the forum shops and use a little bit of that pre-function space, we could probably get to about 1,000. We're going to see this as a really hot venue coming up in the fall. Obviously, the Las Vegas circuit is going to hit there in November, in the weekend, the late November, prior to the Thanksgiving weekend. And so there's opportunities there for buyouts, some great sponsors. So if you're working with anyone who's very Formula One related, or you just want to theme your event around Formula One, this is a great venue to actually use. Cool thing about this venue specifically is it has a terrace that overlooks Las Vegas, overlooks what's going to be the new Omnia Day Club. And during the race, you can actually see the Grand Prix circuit. So we're super excited about having this nice attribute to the F1 Arcade in the forum shops of Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Again, a nice little kind of real fun look at what we look like. So come in, high energy. In the back, there's a react wall. So we're going to have other things that we'll do, but they're all related to F1 and really the motorsport activity. So our current venues, just to help you out here, we have 2 over in UK where the concept was created, in London and Birmingham. So of course, if you're over in that neck of the woods, we certainly want you to check us out. Currently, Boston, Washington, and Philadelphia are now open. Boston, we're in Seaport. Washington in Union Market. In Philadelphia, we're in City Center. In Denver, currently where I am right now, checking out our venue, we are in opening in September in Denver in the Rhino District. In Las Vegas, obviously what I said was in the forum shops. In Las Vegas, opening in October. Check it out. If you're going to IMEX, there might be maybe an opportunity for you to come and see it. And then in Atlanta as well, we're opening that in November. So a lot of really great things that are coming up this year. And then in the years to come in future venues, we'll be hitting all of these cities, bringing that F1 arcade experience to life, and all of these really, really high impact cities that love the F1 and getting into that community. So are you ready, is my question for you, to drive at 300 miles an hour, fast and fabulous, and book with me now? So that's what I have for you today, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, you know how to get a hold of me. Of course, you can always get a hold of Nataly and book through her. We do commissionable events as well. So make sure that, you know, when you're meeting with our sales team, we're certainly talking about your event specifically and the needs that you have for your attendees to ensure that they enjoy this experience as much as we're loving selling it.
Thank you, Shelley. This is awesome. This is so cool. I do have a couple questions real quick before we go.
Sure.
One question is, when considering an experiential venue, do you allocate budget for decor and branding?
So one of the things that we notice in our venue, because it's highly elevated and it got a lot of style, that's one of the things in their budget that we can talk about with meeting planners and saying, you might have this number in your budget that you might be able to save by coming to a high-end venue like this that's already equipped for that activity, giving you that immersive so that you can take that budget and move it to somewhere else that you need to kind of think about. We do some shuttling and some transportation options. We have some places where you can do some branding elements, but a lot of that decor is unnecessary when you come into a highly designed, elevated environment like ours.
That makes sense. Which leads me to the next question is, where would you do branding in a space like that?
Yeah, so we have a lot of screens inside our venues, and they're positioned properly in different spaces. And then we also have the on-screen displays. Like I said, in our simulators, we have 2 screens. So we identify the individual when they race, so they see their name in lights. But we can also identify sponsors, and we can identify, obviously, your corporate logos. But one of the really cool things that we do is we also do signature cocktails. And so, of course, when we think about whether it's going to be elk or non-elk, which we call it, our designated drivers are non-elks. You can actually put your logo right on some of our really cool cocktails. So you can do welcome drinks, champagne buzzes, and all of those things can be corporately branded as well, or sponsor logos, all around in the space. Helmets have we seen as decor. So you're really kind of getting into that really high-end, but fun, but funky, let's call it. It really high-end decor. So you're not maybe even a nice sculpture or something like that. But there's not a lot of necessity and need to go into the decor. There's a lot of opportunities for branding. We have wrapped certainly certain areas as well, depending on the level of the brand and sponsorship that that individual brings to the table.
I love how sustainable that is because, I mean, really everything you mentioned, none of it is junk that's going to end up in the trash.
Right.
Um,
Everything's usable. And the best thing is the usable memory that you get to leave with.
yeah, exactly. It's drinks and your logo on a screen and that sort of thing. But then you leave and, you didn't leave a big mess behind. So that's great. I
That's
love
right.
that.
Yeah. And
Um,
for us, I would tell you that it's a really great 2 to 3 hour experience.
okay,
So when a person gets on our simulators and let's say if it's a group of 50, and we're coming in and racing in simulators, we'll probably allocate a semi-private space or in a private briefing room. So our private rooms were called briefing rooms. We'll allocate simulators to that. And normally you're on that simulator for 4.5 to 6 minutes, depending on your lap time and how good you do. And then you get off and then you go network and have some bites and get a drink. And then we'll call that person back because normally they'll do 3 to 5 races during their time with us at the F1 arcade. Okay, so
right.
you're not constantly on that simulator all the way through. We don't necessarily make you race 3 times without getting off that simulator so that you have that opportunity to engage, share your experience, race with another colleague or a partner, so that experience is really well rounded. And so the event from start to finish can be 2 hours to 3 hours. Of course, if it's a buyout, we can extend it to as long as you want. There's opportunities to do gameplay and leaderboards and recognition opportunities in your group and identify those that do fastest lap. There are points for people that overtake and do good turns and don't crash. And so there's a lot of different things that we put into the game to make it a little bit more on the gamification. But when they do come in, we will present that food, we'll make sure that the drinks and the welcoming, and it really becomes a very great networking environment where you will see in most cases, they don't have their phones out. And if they have their phones out, they're taking pictures of what's actually happening in the room for social content.
Yeah, and anybody who wasn't there probably has such FOMO because they're hearing about it afterwards about, who won and all of that. That's so
Yeah,
great. And
well,
then
if
the
you watch our
introverts
social
probably
feeds,
love it.
yeah,
Sorry?
if you watch our social feeds, you'll see a lot of that. We have
I
a lot of
bet.
influencers that come in, love our brand. They look great in it. We do a lot of step and repeats. And so it's really kind of that young, but still very elevated. And you'll notice there's a lot of women that are really coming into this immersive concept. It's for all ages. So we do young groups as well. So 7+ would be probably the time during the day
Right.
for a group to come in if they had some minors. And then after 7 o'clock, usually that venue turns out over to an adult playground. And so it's
Sure.
21 and over, 18 if we have to do that as well, so that really that event environment is created.
I love that. This is so cool. Gosh. I mean, for anybody who wants to know more, you know where to find me. You can find Shelley through this LinkedIn event. But this is awesome. And then you guys are going to be everywhere soon. I
We're
mean,
trying
you
to
guys
be
are
everywhere
going
as fast
fast.
as we can, right? But
Yeah.
if you do really want to engage more and learn more, obviously, we're in the Northeast currently, and then we're Denver, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. But reach out. We'll certainly talk you through some of our videos. We'll see you some experiences. We'll be doing some fam trips. We're getting you into some venues in Las Vegas. So if anybody's around in Las Vegas, we'll do site tours as well of what's kind of coming up around it. So they're coming up fast. And so we really want to make sure that we're just as fast and fabulous as everybody else.
That's awesome. I love it. Great. Well, thank you so much, Shelley.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Bye.
Bye-bye.